Accountability holds you to what you know you need to do and what you've determined to do so that you can get it done. Today on Growing Hope, we talk tips for understanding the strength that comes from finding the accountability in the relationships you grow.
It's time for Growing Hope, the show determined to grow up hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Because you are extraordinary! And now, live from a little cabin in the woods, nestled along Big Spring Creek, it's your host, Kathryn Lang.
Hello and welcome to Growing Hope, where we are making intentional investments to grow up balanced lives. I am Kathryn Lang, Hope Smith, and Dream Igniter, here to dare you to dream big and live in purpose. You are designed for a purpose, but it's your choice to live out that purpose, and I'm here to encourage you in the pursuit. That's the value of relationships. Relationships inspire us to do more. Relationships inspire us or strengthen us to focus. Relationships are the push that we need to move beyond our limits into our possibilities. Relationships also create the accountability we need to get things done. When someone else is walking along beside us or kicking us in the backside, sometimes that's what we need to get to where we need to go. Sometimes it's just knowing someone else might ask something about what we're doing that's going to fuel the motivation we need. But you do need to get accountable. The more people know you, the more they know you. The more you invest in relationships, the more you grow in trust. The more time you work together, the more you're willing to share the journey. The stronger the connections you build, the bolder those connections will be in holding you accountable. And you can only hide so long when others know your truth. That's some of the values that you get from finding the accountability you need. The first time I won National Novel Writing Month, I was part of a writing group that met nightly online to run word wars and other challenges. I knew they were going to ask what my word count was, so I tried to make sure I always did something before we met so that I wouldn't have to say, well, I hadn't done anything today. But even when I didn't do anything, when we got together and we would do these word wars, I would get more done. I took away from that group, those meetings, the power and importance of accountability. The great thing about the group was that we had been meeting together for so long that it was more than just numbers. We were a family. We had relationships. And so when one was struggling, we would rally behind and encourage while holding each other accountable. You didn't feel bad if you had to say, I haven't gotten anything done. You didn't want to say it, but you didn't feel bad about it. You didn't feel like you were going to be condemned. You knew it would be a chance to be lifted up despite the situation you were going through, the struggles that you were going through. That's what accountability does. It lifts you up. When you invest in the foundational relationships that provide you with with what you need, that firm place to stand, those are the relationships that will create the accountability that will fuel the pursuit of your success. You don't just need to have people, you need to have the right relationships to be accountable to. And then you need to begin to invest in those relationships so you can grow up that powerful accountability that's going to push you beyond where you are. You want people to encourage you. You want people sometimes, depending on your personality, that are going to push you or push your limits. But you want people that understand you and your specific needs and your needs in this season so that they are not just appeasing you, but they're holding you accountable. Accountability pushes you. Appeasement settles you. If you're going to fly into your possibilities, if you're going to sprout the wings on your big dreams, then you cannot be settled. You have to be driven to take that next step and to take flight. You have to be encouraged to jump out of the nest if you're ever going to be able to fly. And the only thing that gets you to that point is the accountability, whether it's self-accountability because you know they're watching, or whether it's their accountability because they're asking. Accountability gives you what you need to reach beyond where you are. And that accountability is grown up in the relationships that you're investing in, because ultimately everything comes back to those relationships. It's all about relationships. We have to be invested in relationships. We need relationships because we're designed to be in relationships. But we also need the right relationships that are going to hold us accountable. Not all relationships are good at accountability. My mother believed in everything I did. She believed that I could, but she believed I could do what she wanted me to do. She was not good at holding me accountable to my big dreams. My dad and I have an amazing relationship, and he is a wonderful encourager, and he lifts me up. But there are some topics that he cannot hold me accountable to because he's my dad. He can't get beyond that dad-daughter relationship. So you have to learn to gauge those relationships and understand your relationships. Some relationships are too encouraging to hold you accountable. Some are too grounded to hold you accountable. The right relationship will hold you accountable to pursuing your big dreams. They're going to have a balance of encouragement and grounded focus. These are the people that you know to turn to that are going to push you, and they're going to know when to push you and when to pull you. They're going to know when to say the right things at the right time in the right way for where you are. Or they are at least going to be comfortable enough in challenging you to do more because they know your relationship can withstand it. And you're going to be comfortable enough to listen to them. I had a coach on one of our teams that was all focused about the team. That's all she thought about. Yes, I could understand because it was a team sport and we all needed to be working together, but she had trouble seeing the individuals on the team, specifically when it came to me, because I was in an older age group, and she knew that as long as I was in the event that I would get some points, and so she would put me in an event that I knew I was going to fail at. I knew because I had failed in the past, and I had never worked on and had anyone work with me to get better and improve. So if you haven't improved where you have not succeeded, then you can probably suspect you're not going to succeed the next time. But she just kept telling me to do it. You just do it, just do it, just do it. But that didn't help me. It didn't get me anywhere to where I needed to be. Instead of working with me to get better, she just kept putting me into the events. So I just quit reporting. I quit going to the starting block. Why go if you know you're not going to get there? Years later, I had a chance to coach a similar team. And I had to ask people to do things for the team that weren't necessarily their strengths. But it was for the team, and it's a team sport. And I would sit down and I would talk with them, and I would explain to them why I was turning to them, even though I knew it wasn't their favorite or it wasn't their strongest point. But I would explain that I had watched them improve in practice, and I knew that they could do it. And I encouraged them to take on the challenge, to push them beyond where they were. I didn't just see them. I saw the team. I saw the individual. The right relationships hold you accountable to do more than you would do on your own. And those are the kind of relationships you need if you're going to reach your big dreams. The more people know you, the more they know you. As you invest in building up relationships, those relationships learn your tells. They learn to recognize when you're struggling even before you realize you're struggling. They will see when you're trying to defer your responsibilities, even if you're trying to hide it or you've successfully hidden it from yourself. I went to a competition where I was up against a girl that beat me every time we went up against each other. All during practice the day before the meet, I was fretting. I was freaking out. My coach was great. He reminded me that I had invested a lot. I had improved a lot. I was doing great. Focus on doing your best, all that kind of stuff. But I was still struggling. So I called a friend of mine and talked it out with him. After listening to everything I said, he simply said to me, if you don't want to do it, go home. He knew me well enough to know that I had to make the choice to do it if I was going to do it. If I did it for anyone other than me, I would struggle with the focus. Having people around you that know you is important to getting the accountability you need. The more you invest in relationships, the more you grow trust for that relationship. The opinion of someone you just met will not hold the same value as one you have known and built up relationships with. I had the opportunity to visit with one of the keynote speakers at an event because we were left alone at a table for the entire lunch. It was great. She gave me a lot of advice and a lot of tips and said, this is how you need to go forward in your progress. Now, when I got home, I sat down with my dad out on the back porch for one of our coffee moments, and we talked through the steps. And we really got serious about what would work for me and what wouldn't. Either because I had tried it before and it didn't work, or it just went against my nature and my focus. I listened more to what my dad said, even though he had no experience in the area we were talking about, but he knew me. Then I trusted the expert that knew the area. The more you invest in a relationship, the more you trust what comes out of the relationship. The more time you invest with others, the more you share what's going on. The closer the bond, the more comfortable you feel with sharing the steps you're taking or the struggles you're going through. I had the chance to be part of a weekday study group and at our church. The first few weeks, we just kind of tiptoed around the surface stuff. We didn't really get very deep, but man, by the fourth week, we knew each other and we recognized that what we were saying was between each other. We were a group. We were bonded together, and the trust grew because of that bond. The more connected we became, the more we shared, and the more time that we shared, the bolder we got in our sharing. The more time you invest in relationships, the more comfortable you become in sharing with that relationship. And the strongest connection is the boldest connection. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. When you know someone and you have a strong bond with that person, then you know you can trust what they say. And you know that they're going to be blunt sometimes about what they say. I had a really close friend that was making a huge mistake in her life. I knew it. And apparently she knew it too, because she had told a lot of other people about her choice, but she did not come to me and talk to me about it. So one of those other people came to me and said, you really need to go talk to her. And I laughed. I said, I'm not going to go talk to her. If she wanted me to know, then she would let me know. But she's not contacting me because she already knows what I'm going to say. The closer you are to somebody, the more not only do you know what they're going to say, but you know what they need to hear. And she didn't want to hear it. So when you build up those relationships to that point of closeness, then you create the ability to be blunt and bold in accountability. And finally, you can only hide so long when someone knows your truth. You can only hide from the people that have come to know you for so long because they know something's off when you're not around. You can usually hide longer from yourself than you can the relationships you built. The more you've invested in the relationships, the harder it becomes to hide from them when you know you're not moving where you need to move. Even if they don't know specifically what the challenge is or the struggle may be, they know from not encountering you that you're facing something. They know that you're trying to hide something, that you're struggling with something. They know because they know you. That's what you want. That's why it's so hard to hide from those people for very long, because they know you. Accountability starts with that. They have to know you to some degree in order to truly hold you accountable, because accountability is what's going to hold you on track when you're investing in growing up your big dreams. And it begins with relationships. Those relationships build up the accountability you need to reach your desired success. Relationships are what push you on to where you need to go. We all need accountability to walk out the path in purpose and on purpose. Some days we do find the accountability in ourselves, in going it alone. But most days, for me at least, we need others to get there. The journey is always better when we go together. So that's why relationships are essential to what we're doing. Relationships provide accountability because the more people know you, the more they know you. They see even when you don't want them to see. The more you invest in others, the more you grow up trust. And trust comes from experience. Experience is what we get when we invest time together. We grow up trust so that we can be accountable. The more you care, the more you share. The closer the relationship becomes, the more you're willing to open up. The stronger the connection, the bolder the connections. The stronger the bond, the tighter the cord. The easier it becomes to strain both and be bold in truths. The more you see, the harder it becomes to hide. In other words, the more people see each other, the more invested we are in relationships together, the harder it becomes to hide the struggles, the procrastinations, or just the straight up truth. I led a writing group every week a while back, and I started each meeting with this one question: how was your writing this week? It was open-ended, and it challenged people to let us know how much they had gotten done. But because I knew I was going to be opening up the meeting with that question, I wrote more every week than I had been writing, because I knew eventually in those meetings someone was going to ask me how I had been doing, and I wanted to be a good example to them. Accountability is about someone pushing you and challenging you, and sometimes it's about being an example to others. No matter how you get to the place of being accountable, you want to be sure that you are investing in the accountability so that you have the fuel and the motivation to make your big dreams come true. Continue to gather all the tools that are going to help you get to where you want to go, and be invested in accountability. Thank you for joining me for today's Growing Hope. I am better because you're invested in spending these moments with me. You hold me accountable. You challenge me to give a little more and to do a little bit more. I look forward to hearing how you are growing up your balanced life. Visit Growing Hope Radio Facebook group and share your thoughts, your wins, or your struggles so we can connect and hold each other accountable. You can also engage with me by visiting snarkyrainbows.com. You can share the links to your accountability journey. And if you have missed any of the Balanced Life episodes of Growing Hope, you can watch and listen to all the past episodes at growinghoperadio.com. Also, be on the watch for the online course that is going to be launching in November for building your balanced life. When you're walking in balance, you are bolder and stronger than you ever thought or imagined possible. And see, you're designed to live in purpose, on purpose, and to thrive in that purpose. When you dare to unlock your heart seat and you begin investing in your uniqueness, you will thrive in that purpose, and you will launch into all of your possibilities. I know that there is more than you can imagine, and I dare you to step into it. I am Kathryn Lang, here to tell you that hope makes a difference, because every day holds a promise of more, and every action contains the power of possibility. It is not about what the world says. It is not even about what the world shows, because the world's going to show you something that's not true every time. Remember, the strength of hope and encouragement will and does push through the limits and the walls of the world. My prayer is and always will be that the words I share are helping establish a foundation of hope that will shatter the delusions of the world around us. That these words will help us be accountable and hold each other accountable as we pursue our purpose and uniqueness. Until next time, in all that you're doing, remember, be blessed and be a blessing.
Thank you for joining us for Growing Hope with Kathryn Lang, where we are sharing hope, encouragement, inspiration to do more. Visit www.kathrynlang.com to invite Kathryn to be part of your event or to share your own stories of possibility living. Until next time, remember that a seed of hope planted and nurtured will grow up into a world of possibilities.